Well, September 2020, in fact. It was a Sunday morning, about 9:30 on a Sunday morning. And I got a phone call from Jenny's wife to say Jenny had been out on a bike ride and she wasn't back. And she was just wondering where she was because she couldn't contact her by phone. And Jenny said, if you're ever in bother, ring my dad, so to speak. So she rang me and I just immediately thought something had happened. So I rang Fazakerley Hospital, Aintree Hospital as it's now known, to say anybody, young woman, turned up, because I thought the worst. And that proved to be the worst. And she'd been admitted to the hospital having been involved in a hit and run collision. And as it happens, it was about 100 yards from where I lived. So when I came out of the house at about 9:30, 9:45 on that beautiful Sunday morning, the road was blocked off because the police were there. And what I'd heard that morning was the air ambulance, sirens, etc. And I didn't know Jenny was lying 100 yards away in the road, basically. So that's the circumstance surrounding it. And then she was badly brain damaged, it transpires, and then she died 9 days later, on the 6th of October. So that was the context, and you can imagine the shock, the trauma, the disbelief, guilt, because she's only 100 yards from the house, and you're thinking, what happens if I had been in the garden when that happened and she went past on the bike? All those sort of things run through your mind. So she was one of the 141 people killed, cyclists killed on the road that year. There were about 4,000 seriously injured and about 12,000 with minor injuries. So she was one of those people whose lives have been affected by it in one fashion or another.
How are you?
Well, it's one of those things that you 18 months on, it's just, it's one of those things that'd be impossible ever to get over. And people I've spoken to, we've had colleagues in Parliament who daughters had died or sons had died, and I don't think you ever get over it. I certainly haven't come to terms with it as yet. And neither of members of the family or Jenny's wife. It's one of those things that you just don't know what the pathway will be for the future. But it's traumatic, and it affects you at different times in different places.